Hey everybody, welcome back to another EDH video. Today is day 25. Yeah, Merry Christmas to everybody out there. This is the last 25 days of deck building video, and we are on Jeskai. That's the name of the colors. I can't even remember them. But we're gonna build around Zinnia, Valley's Voice. I think this is a precon commander, so yeah, pretty lame, but it's blue, red, and a white. Legendary creature, bird, bard. Flying gets plus X plus O, where X is the number of other creatures you control with base power 1. Creature spells you cast have Offspring 2, which is you may pay an additional 2 generic as you cast a creature spell. If you do, when that creature enters, create a 1/1 token copy of it. So it is also a 1/3, but it doesn't count itself for the base power 1 thing. Anyways, I built this kind of like a clone deck. Yeah, there's like 34 clones in the deck. I know it's hilarious, but kind of what I did, because like you can pay 2 for a clone and have like a copy of like one thing and then a copy of somebody else's thing, or a copy of your thing and then a copy of somebody else's thing. So you can get 2 of them. So like you play a what's a good spark double when you get a copy of somebody's commander, and then you get a copy of one of your creatures or 2 creatures. You know what I mean? Like it just makes sense. It's funny. I like it. It seems good, right? It's more like my deck is your deck. This is like the power level. This is power level is everybody's power level type thing. So yeah, let's get right into what's actually inside the deck. You know the drill. We got some ramp first up, which we're always gonna have some ramp. We're gonna have some ramp. We're gonna have that red, blue, white ramp, the artifact ramp. We're not in green, so So first up, the drill. We're gonna have Arcane Signet, 2 generic. Add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity, which is a red, white, or a blue. You know the drill. It's Arcane Signet. It does good stuff. We got Curse Mirror, 2 generic and a red. Tap it, add a red. It also enters the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield until end of turn, and it has haste. So you can copy this. You can copy this with a clone and then get a permanent one, I think. Anyways, Mind Stone, 2 generic, add a colorless, and then you can tap it, generic, tap it, sacrifice it, draw a card. It's just ramp. We're probably never going to really sacrifice it. Liquid Metal Torque, 2 generic, tap it, for a colorless, or also tap it and target non-land permanent becomes an artifact in addition to its other types until end of turn. Liquid Metal Torque. Soul Ring, 1 generic, tap it, add 2 colorless. It's Soul Ring. We know what Soul Ring does. I don't think I have to explain it. It's Soul Ring. Soul Ring. Solemn Simulacrum, 4 generic, artifact creature. Golem enters the battlefield, search your library for a basic land card, put it on the battlefield, tapped, and then shuffle. Whenever it dies, you draw a card, sorry. But if he has Offspring, you can search for 2 basics with your commander. Talisman of Conviction, tap it for a colorless or tap it for a red and a white, and it deals 1 damage to you. It's 2 generic. Talisman of Creativity is the same thing, but it taps for a red or a blue, and it deals 1 damage to you. Talismans are always going to be good. I think they're going to be pretty good staples for the remainder of Commander. Talisman of Progress, taps for a white or a blue and deals 1 damage to you. Same as the other talismans, but also taps for the colorless if you need it to. We have some removal. We're in pretty good removal colors. We're going to have Braid first up, 1 generic and a red. Choose 1, deals 3 damage to target creature, or you destroy target artifact. This is one of the best red cards for removal, to be honest. I have Aetherize, 3 generic and a blue. Return all attacking creatures to their owner's hand. I don't know why I put this in here. I think this is, I just kind of, Ostrich Command, 4 generic, 2 white. Choose 2, destroy all artifacts, destroy all enchantments, destroy all creatures with mana value 3 or less, or mana value 4 or greater. Our tokens might have mana value since they're copies, but it's kind of, we could probably just destroy all artifacts and enchantments, or 30 or higher or whatever. Blasphemous Sack, 8 generic and a red. The spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature on the battlefield, and then it deals 13 damage to each creature. We are a creature deck, but Blasphemous Sack, that's good. Trainer's Gift, 2 generic and a white. Destroy target permanent. Its controller creates a 3/3 green elephant creature token. This one's, classic permanent destruction. Hit a land if you want to. Path to Exile, 1 white. Exile target creature. Its controller may search their library for a basic land card. Put it on the battlefield, then tap, and then shuffle the library. 1 mana ramp spell for sure. Rapid Hybridization, 1 blue. Destroy target creature. It can't be regenerated. That creature's controller creates a 3/3 green frog lizard creature token. One of the better blue removal spells. Swords of Plowshare, 1 white. Exile target creature. Its controller gains life equal to its power. Yeah, we're going to do this to our Zinnia and gain 50 life, because that seems funny, right? Or just our opponent's stuff. Untimely malfunctions, one generic and a red. Choose one, destroy target artifact, or change the target of a target spell or ability with a single target, or one or two target creatures can't block this turn. We have Witch Enchanter, 3 generic and a white. Enters the battlefield, destroy target artifact or enchantment an opponent controls. And then it also has a flip side. If it enters the battlefield, you may pay 3 life. If you don't, this enters tapped, and it taps for white. It's a land. We have Skyclave Apparition, 1 generic, 2 white. Enters the battlefield, X up to 1 target non-land, non-token permanent you don't control, converted mana cost 3 or less. Whenever it leaves the exiled card's owner, creates an XX blue illusion token where X is the converted mana cost of the exiled card. They don't even get the thing, you know? We have clones. We're going to have a lot of clones here. Auton Soldier, 4 generic, 2 blue. Enters the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield except it isn't legendary and is an artifact in addition to its other types and has Myriad. Comes in as a 0/0, but it's 6 mana. It's a lot of mana, but I think this is a good ability to have Myriad. You can attack with somebody's thing. We have Bruticlad, Telecore Engineer, 4 generic, and an is it legendary artifact creature. Artificer. Creature tokens you control have haste. Beginning of combat in your turn, create a 2/1 blue mirror artifact creature token. Then you may choose a token you control. If you do, each other token you control becomes a copy of that token. This can go crazy in this deck. We have Clever Impersonator, 2 generic, 2 blue. Enters the battlefield as a copy of any non-land permanent on the battlefield. Probably a creature, but it can be literally any non-land permanent. You know, get their Mana Vault, you know, or whatever. Soul Ring. 4 mana Soul Ring is pretty bad, but still. We have Clone, 3 generic and a blue. Enters the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield. It's a 0/0, but you know, it keeps it, it takes their stats, so that's why it's a 0/0. But it's a 3 generic and a blue. Shapeshifter and all that crap. One of the better clones, I think, right? No, probably not. There's probably better clones. We got Copy Crook, 2 generic, 2 blue. Enters the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield except it has. Whenever this creature attacks, connive. So connives is draw a card, then discard a card. If you discard a non-land, put a +++ counter on it. This is I thought this was from Murder at Karlov Manor, but I guess it's from Modern Horizons. We have Dax Duplicate, 2 generic. Is it creature shapeshifter? Enters the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield except it has haste and dethrone. So whenever it attacks a player with the most life or tied for most life, it put a ++ counter on it. So it can get bigger, but also it's just a clone of any creature on the battlefield. Flesh Duplicate, 2 blue. Creature Shapeshifter Rebel. Enters the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield except it has Vanishing 3. If the creature doesn't have Vanishing, a permanent with Vanishing 3 enters the battlefield with 3 time counters. At the beginning of your upkeep, remove a time counter from it. When the last is removed, you sacrifice it. So this is just a 3-turn clone. Glasspool Mimic, 2 generic and a blue. Enters the battlefield as a copy of any creature you control except it's a Shapeshifter Rogue in addition to its other types. And then on the backside, it has Glasspool Shore, which enters the battlefield tap and taps for a blue. It's a land, so you can play it on either side. You can play it as a land or a clone. With Helm of the Host, 4 generic. At the beginning of combat in your turn, create a token that's a copy of a equipped creature, except the token isn't legendary. If equipped creature is legendary, that token gains haste. And equip 5. This is 9 mana to do this, but you can play it on turn 4, get it out, equip it turn 5. Seems decent. Mockingbird, X and a blue, flying, Bird Bard. You may have Mockingbird enter as a copy of any creature on the battlefield with mana value less than or equal to the amount of mana spent to cast Mockingbird, except its bird in addition to its other types, and it has flying. One of the newer clones, one of the better ones, I think, from this year. Definitely good. A Phantasmal Image, 1 generic and a blue. You may have Phantasmal Image enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield, except an illusion in addition to its other types, and it has, when this creature becomes the target of a spell or ability, sacrifice it. So just a 2 mana good clone, except for whenever it gets targeted, you sack it. Phyrexian Metamorph, 3 generic and a Phyrexian mana, so you can play a blue or 2 life. You may have it enter the battlefield as a copy of any artifact or creature on the battlefield, except it's an artifact in addition to its other types. This is one of the better ones as well, I believe. You can pay 3 mana instead of 4 mana for it, so it's 3 mana clone. Pirated Copy, 4 generic and blue. You may have Pirated Copy enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield except as a pirate in addition to its other types, and whenever this creature deals combat damage, whatever this creature or another creature with the same name deals combat damage to a player, you draw a card. So more than likely, we're probably going to be doing this to our opponent's stuff so that whenever their stuff deals damage, we draw a card. We have Radical Replication, 2 generic and 2 blue, and it also has Kicker, 5 generic. Create a token that's a copy of target creature. If the spell is kicked, create 5 of those tokens instead. Radical Replication is one of the better, the best cards ever. No, I'm just kidding. It's not that good, but I do like this card. 9 mana is a bit rough, though. Sakashima of 1,000 Faces, 3 generic and blue, you may have it enter the battlefield as a copy of another creature you control, except its name is Sakashima of the Thousand Faces, and the legend rule doesn't apply to the permanents you control. This is funny. I like this. So you can just keep on making a bunch of clones of legendaries. Sakashima the Imposter, 2 generic, 2 blue. It comes into play. You may choose a creature in play. If you do, Sakashima comes into play as the copy of that creature, except its name is still Sakashima the Imposter. It's still a legendary. And it gains 2 and 2 blue. Return Sakashima the Imposter to its owner's hand at the end of turn. Ugh, there's a lot of reading there. You have Spark Double, 3 generic and blue. You may have Spark Double enter the battlefield as a copy of a creature or planeswalker you control, except as it enters with an additional +1/+1 counter on it if it's a creature, and an additional loyalty counter on it if it's a planeswalker, and it isn't legendary. We can have 2 of the same planeswalker, but mainly we're going to be using the creature. We have Stunt Double, 3 generic and blue. It enters the battlefield of any creature on the battlefield. And it has flash, so you can do this in response to. Yeah, you know what the best blocker for a Blightsteel Colossus is? Yeah, another Blightsteel Colossus. So yeah, in response, I'm gonna stunt double your Blightsteel and block with my own Blightsteel. I think that's cool. 3 steps ahead, 1 blue spree. Choose 1 or more additional costs, so you can play an extra generic and a blue counter target spell. Pay an extra 3 generic, create a token that's a copy of target artifact or creature you control. Pay 2 more generic and draw 2 cards, and then discard a card. So it can be all of the above. It's a lot of mana, and nobody wants to do that ever. The Jolly Blue Man, 1 generic and a Boros haste. Tap it, and pay 1. Create a token that's a copy of another target creature you control, except it's a 1/1 red balloon creature token in addition to its other types, and has flying and haste. Sacrifice at the beginning of the next end step. Activate on sorcery. 1/4 human clown. I love this card, so I put it in here. Undercover Operative, 2 generic, 2 blue. Enters the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield, except it has a shield counter on it if you control that creature. So if it's a creature you control, it comes in with a shield counter pretty much. But if it's somebody else's, it doesn't. We have random Sun Titan, 4 generic and 2 white, enters the battlefield or attacks. You may return target permanent card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. I put this in here to clone a bunch and get a bunch of our stuff back. I think that makes sense. I think it's cool. Maybe not, but it's a 6/6 vigilance. If not, might as well. You can clone it. Spirited Companion, 1 generic and white, enters the battlefield, you draw a card. A little bit of draw. Also, if we clone something and then clone it a bunch, we'll just have 15 Spirited Companions, and I think that's funny. Rootborn Defense, 2 generic and white, enters populate creature you control, gain indestructible turn a turn. So you populate, you create a token that's a copy of a creature token you control, and then they gain indestructible turn a turn. This is a little bit of protection, a little bit of population. You know the drill. Odor Attack, Deepest Foundations, 4 generic, 2 white. If 1 or more creature tokens will be created under control, 3 times that many are created instead. Whenever it dies, you return to the battlefield tapped and transformed under your control, and it comes in as Temple of Civilization. You can tap for a white or tap 2 and a white and tap it, and activate only if you attacked with 3 or more creatures this turn. Nesting Deathhawk, 3 generic and a white. At the beginning of combat on your turn, populate, and then whenever a creature token enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+ counter on Nesting Deathhawk. This can just populate all of our offspring tokens to just get a bunch of the same stuff. I think it's funny because you just, I don't know. Mudrak Glory Dominus, 2 generic, 2 white. If 1 or more tokens be created under your control, twist that many of those tokens are created instead. Then 1 generic and a Phyrexian white, so you can pay 2 life for a white. Sacrifice 2 other artifacts or creatures, put an indestructible counter on Mudrak Glory Dominus. That's one of the token doublers in here. Then we have Mold Drifter, 4 generic and a blue. It enters the battlefield, draw 2 cards. So if we have this on the battlefield and we have a clone, we should be like, oh, well, I want to clone this and draw a couple extra cards. I don't know, it just makes sense to me. It's also a fish. It kind of looks weird. I've never really looked at the art of this one, but it just kind of looks like a big lipped fish. Molten Gatekeeper, 2 generic and a red. Enters the battlefield under your control. Molten Gatekeeper deals 1 damage to each opponent. Then as unearthed, so you can return it to the battlefield from your graveyard to the battlefield, and it gains haste except the next end step. So if we clone this, it doesn't. I think the clause of that leaves with the unearthed, so I think it's pretty good. Limitless Broodmoth, 2 generic, 2 white. Whenever a creature you control without flying dies, return to the battlefield under its owner's control with a flying counter on it. So yeah, that's what that one does. So all of our clones will die and come back, and then clone something else. Junkwinder, 5 generic and 2 blue. Affinity for tokens, so it costs 1 less to cast for each token you control. And whenever a token enters the battlefield in control, tap target an online permanent opponent controls. It doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step, and it's a 5, 6 for 7. It's kind of bad, huh? But I really like the art, honestly. Interlarn Sanctifier, 1 white. Whenever another creature you control enters, you gain 1 life. That's a 1/2. I put it in here because of like all the clones we can just do funny stuff with. Make 30 clones of this, and then play a clone and gain 30 life. I didn't put that many effects like that in here though. It's because there are a bunch of one-off effects. Enduring Innocence, 1 generic, 2 white. Whenever one or more other creatures you control with power 2 or less enter, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. Whenever it dies, you return to the battlefield under its owner's control. It's an enchantment instead, and it has lifelink. It's Sheep Glimmer. I don't know if it's the first Glimmer creature we've had, but if Dawn's Truce, 1 generic and a white, gift a card. You may promise an opponent a card as you cast the spell. If you do, they draw a card before its other effects. And then you and permanents you control gain hexproof until end of turn. If the gift was promised, permanents you control gain indestructible until end of turn as well. So they gain hexproof and indestructible for 2 mana. If Curiosity Crafter, 3 generic and blue, you have no maximum hand size. It has flying. Whenever a creature token you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Whenever one should clone tokens that are clone tokens. I don't know what to say. But yeah, we're going to have a bunch of clone tokens and then just going to swing in. And yeah, we have Boros Charm. It's a Boros instant. Choose 1. Deals 4 damage to target player or planeswalker, or permanents you control gain indestructible until end of turn, or target creature gains double strike until end of turn. So choose 1, I guess. It doesn't matter, I guess. Double strike. Yep. Arabelle Abandoned. It's a Boros. Whenever it attacks, it deals X damage to each opponent, and you gain X life, where X is the number of creatures you control with power 2 or less. This is power 2 or less deck. They come in as 1. The clones come in as 1/1, so we're gonna have some creatures with power 2 or less, I suppose. Also funny to clone with Sakashima. Aether Channeler, 2 generic and a blue. Enters the battlefield. Choose 1. Create a 1/1 white bird creature token with flying. Return another target non-land permanent to its owner's hand, or draw a card. So 3 mana draw a card, or 3 mana bounce something, or 3 mana cut a 1/1. We clone this, we can just do whatever we want. Agate 8 Instigator, 1 generic and a red. Has an offspring already, but we can pay the 2 generic instead, I think, as well. And then whenever another creature you control enters, this creature deals 1 damage to each opponent. So a little bit of burn there. One of the better ones that came out this year, I believe, the Impact Rivers type stuff. I know that Procession, 3 generic and a white. If an effect would create 1 or more tokens under control, it creates twice that many of those tokens instead. This is a token doubler for our commander's offspring trigger. Instead of 2 clones, you get 2 of them. Instead of 1 clone, you get 2, whatever. We have some ramp, or no, this is lands. What am I talking about? Four plains, 4 mountains, 5 islands. 5 islands. Adagar Waste. You can tap it for a white or a blue, and it deals 1 damage. You can also tap it for a colorless. Battlefield Forge, same thing, but you can tap it for a red or a white, and it deals 1 damage to you instead. And then it also taps for the colorless as well. Shivan Reef, tap it for a blue or a red, it deals 1 damage to you, and you can also tap it for a colorless. Same thing, same old deal. Sulphur Falls, it just battlefield tap unless you control an island or a mountain. Taps for a blue or a red. And guess what? The next land is Glacial Fortress. Does the same exact thing, except for the land types are plains or island, and it taps for a white or a blue. Clifftop Retreat. Enters the battlefield tap unless you control a mountain or plains. Taps for a red or a white. Putting them in order this time. Cascade Bluffs taps for colorless. You can also tap a blue-red hybrid into it and tap it and add blue-blue, blue-red, or red-red. Instigate's the same thing, except for it's a Azorius hybrid, and it taps for a white-white, white-blue, or a blue-blue. Rugged Prairie is the same thing, except for it taps for a red-red, red-white, blue, or green, white-white. And then they all tap for colorless as well. We have Training Center, enters battlefield tap unless you have 2 or more opponents. Taps for a blue or a red. Put them in order this time. Spectator Seating does the exact same thing, except for it taps for a red or a white. A little bit of dual lands in here. Sea of Cloud enters the battlefield tap unless you have 2 or more opponents. Taps for a white or a blue. Yep, that's what it do. Command Tower, add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color. So red, white, or blue. Exotic Orchard, add 1 mana of any color that Atlantic opponent controls could produce. So, people usually play red, white, or blue. Fountain Port, tap it for a colorless, or tap 2, tap it, sacrifice a token, draw a card, or tap 3, tap it, pay 1 life, create a 1/1 blue fish creature token, or tap 4, tap it, create a treasure token. Probably only going to really tap it for mana or sacrifice a token and draw a card once. Mystic Monastery, enters battlefield tapped. You can tap it for a red, a blue, or a white. Raglan Triumph's the same thing, except for it has the land types, and it also has cycling 3. And yeah, and it comes untapped. Stormcard Coast enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 2 or more other lands. Taps for a blue or a red. Sundown Pass enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 2 or more other lands. Taps for a red or a white. This is same thing. Yeah, but anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Merry Christmas and all that good stuff. Happy holidays. Happy Hanukkah. Happy New Year. I don't know. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave a like, subscribe. Don't forget to follow me on Blue Sky, join the Discord server, and all that other stuff. Yeah, peace out.